5:31, and this is our CRA board meeting. The meeting is called to order, Madam Clerk.
Board Member Desilme,
I'm here.
Board Member Estime Irvin,
Present.
Board Member Galvin, Board Member Keys, Chairman Bieneme.
Yeah,
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
thank you very much. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and who's gonna pray? Vanessa Joseph.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk. You don't know how to pray?
Mike is here. They'll go out a Catholic. Yes.
Madam Clerk?
You know how to play? No.
No? Okay,
I don't know how to pray.
thank you very much. And now let's move forward with the agenda. Can I motion the consent?
Motion to consent it. So move.
No, you made the motion, right?
For the consent is,
Chairman, as of 5:32, Board Member Keys is present.
She was here.
thank you very much. And
She was here.
she was that when I make the call. The minute from last.
Actually, I
We
already.
need a
the last
second.
meeting.
Are you seconding my motion? Karen?
Oh, did you make it?
Yes.
Okay, second.
The minutes are not, we're not
Oh,
posted,
they
so
not?
that's,
Okay.
so that's why they're not
The
on
consent
the list.
agenda.
Okay.
What happened?
No, no, no.
He was
it's
asking
no
about the
questions.
I said they were not posted, that's why they're not on there.
I got it.
That's when we're not
You
gonna
will-
approve the
you will
min,
do it in January.
we're not gonna approve the,
They're not posted,
They're
so
not
they're not
posted.
listed,
why is that?
because they were not posted in time for the agenda. So they'll be at the January meeting.
But we can't
Okay.
approve it, right? Or we
No,
can't
it's
just
not
have
there.
it?
I thought it was, okay.
I got you. Okay, that's what I thought.
And now we gotta go to agenda item 2.
Consent agenda.
I have a motion made by Board Member Estime Irvin to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Board Member Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 4-0 vote.
Wait a minute.
Where's the consent?
Consent, there's nothing in the consent, right?
The resolution.
Or item
Items
2
to 4.
to 4.
Consent is 1 through
Oh,
Two
I
to
got it.
four.
Okay, okay, never mind.
Two
I
to
got it.
four.
Okay.
without the minutes.
Okay.
That's a
never
new
mind.
one?
Minutes
That's
was
a
the
new
one.
things?
The manager is not here today, but he asked for me to follow the same format as the city's agenda posting.
Yeah, but
Oh, for this
we,
one?
wait. Oh, since we already approved it, so, sorry. You changed the format and nobody discussed that with us.
It was actually discussed with me.
was
I was,
discussed with you?
I was aware of it, yes.
That's
The
fine.
briefings.
I'm not talking, when I said it was not discussed with us, meaning me, or whoever else, that's mean I don't know who discussed that with, it was not discussed with
format?
me, that we are gonna change the format. I'm the chair of the meeting.
But who
Need to be
sets the
discussed
agenda,
with
the chair or
me,
the
but-
manager?
The manager can change it, but as the chair, they did not discuss that, there's a change in the format of the meeting that, now we were gonna have, and secondly, it's an item for, what are the item? Item 4 for $500,000? And you want it to
Through
be on
if I-
consent?
If I may,
Where?
Mr. Chair, the actual, I think the reason why we did put agenda item number 4 on the consent agenda is the same item that we approved last week. We just thought it'd be better to come back and memorialize it through a resolution to make sure we covered everything.
So we didn't have a
that's-
resolution
what?
last time?
Last
It
time
was
we
just a
didn't have a resolution.
presentation.
Oh,
It was a presentation, and we
presentation.
voted on the presentation.
And for auditing
to move forward.
purposes, the attorney said that
Oh.
we need to have it by resolution.
Got
So
it.
it's just ratifying what you had approved at the last CRA board meeting.
That's not what I'm discussing
No,
now.
I understand.
I'm not discussing the amount. I'm discussing about the fact that you put 3 items on consent and you change the format, and we did not discuss that, and especially when you have $500,000, even though in the regular council, we don't put $500,000 on consent.
I understand that.
I know the manager was briefing with the intent to explain to everybody the change in the organization and the layout of the agenda moving forward. So I think it might have just
Let me
fell through the cracks once the briefing started. But we do apologize for that.
But my problem, I was brief on the items. I'm talking about the format change for the meeting. That's what I'm talking about.
Agreed.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Attorney, how does so the set of the agenda, is it the?
Give me a second.
Go ahead.
Mr. CRA attorney,
Yes,
how
sir.
can we reverse that and
Well, it's a policy matter that the executive director basically sets the agenda the same way the city manager sets your agenda. So if you do not want to have a consent agenda
since we are going to, I'm talking about tonight,
tonight,
since
Well,
reverse the vote we just.
that's fine. First
did.
of all, I didn't hear a vote. I heard one vote
Point cons-
Okay,
from Commissioner Estimate Urban. I heard a motion, a second, and when there was a vote, I only heard one person say yes.
Okay.
So, if you all want to go back, and you want to go on each item individually.
yes,
Is
that's
what
what
you
I
want
wanna
to
do.
That's certainly within your discretion and your prerogative to do so. So as far as I can tell, there wasn't a full vote. If you want to go back and take
Since we had a
each-
motion on the floor, can
each item
someone
individually,
can,
I would say to take away the second, take away the motion, and then
Second.
move forward with each item individually.
okay, can,
Rescind my second.
thank you very much, and now we're gonna go back to the
And the
regular
maker of
agenda.
the motion as well, rescind the motion?
Yeah, withdraw.
Okay. All right,
Yes.
sir, the floor is yours to move ahead with the items.
Thank you. Next time we will know in advance that we are going to. Now, item number 2, Madam Clerk.
Agenda item 2, resolution to approve recess authority. A resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the executive director, the city clerk, and the North Miami CRA attorney to take all necessary action and to execute all documents relating to the operations of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency during the board's recess commencing December 11th, 2019 through January 13th, 2020, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Yes. Since, I just have a quick question about it.
Yes, sir.
Since we are coming for the first meeting in January anyway, no?
Yes, sir. Which
That's
would
when
be
there's no
January
recess
14th.
for the CRA.
It would be, we follow what the city follows for the recess.
But there's no recess for you. It's because on the city council part is because we have another council meeting at the fourth Tuesday of December that we will not have. But when it comes to the CRA, there is no recess since we are coming back in January.
It is at the pleasure of the chairman.
What
I'm
do you
just
guys
following
think
the
that's-
city's,
Whichever, I don't.
Because there is no
whichever way.
recess. And can I have a
So
motion
did
to
we
remove
have-
tab A?
So you're removing tab A?
Yes.
I'll move.
Second.
Thank you very much.
I have a motion to remove tab A made by board member Desilme. The item was seconded by, the motion was seconded by board member Estime Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Agenda item 3.
Agenda item 3, resolution to approve Fox Rothschild as legal counsel for an amount of $100,000. A resolution of the chairman and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving a professional services agreement with Fox Rothschild LLP to provide legal representation services to the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency for fiscal year 2019-2020. Authorizing the executive director to issue a purchase order in the amount of $100,000 to Fox Rothschild LLP for fiscal year 2019-2020 and providing an effective date.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Again, this is the request for approval to open a purchase order for Fox Rothschild, our legal counsel, to provide legal services for the agency. This item is on our approved budget for 1920, so we're asking for the board's approval of this agreement and the purchase order.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is open. On agenda item 3, public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion?
A second, but I have a
Yes.
question also.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So, to the
Chair.
chair, to the attorney, Mr. Zarkowitz, have we always had hourly fees of
Mike.
Have we always had fees of $9.20 an hour? Have we ever been that high? I know, but it's 210 to 920. I've never seen.
No, of course not. That's the standard engagement letter that Fox Rothschild provides. That basically says to you, these are the ranges that the firm charges. And Gray Robinson was the same way. I mean, it had a
920?
range. No, I think it went up to...
I've never seen that fee. Sorry.
Excuse me. Okay. The engagement letter says that you're paying a blended rate of $250 an hour for all partners at the firm. So if I use the individual who charges $9.20 an hour, he's going to be paid $250 an hour by the CRA. Okay, no one is charging you more than what the engagement letter states, which is a blended rate of $250 an hour.
So it says Stephen Zarkowitz 250. So if we get one of your partners to charge 9, we're still charging 250?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, and I can correct it to, if you wanted to say, it's supposed to say a blended rate. I have other partners at the firm who work on the files from time to time. John Herron, who's appeared here when I'm not around, and it's $250 an hour for everybody. Associates, I think, are $150, and paralegals are $100.
Okay. I mean, 250 is like extremely, extremely reasonable and low, but the 920.
Correct. So, for example, my standard rate is $605 an hour.
Okay.
So that's what I charge my private clients. But for CRAs, we have a range anywhere between 2.25 to 500, depending upon the type of work that's being done.
Okay. I mean, I have no problem with 250. I'm just looking at
Thank
920
you.
and I was like expecting someone to come out and charge us 920 per.
That'd be
the
very
meeting.
nice if we could get that kind of money as attorneys, but maybe that's the person in New York or something who's working on some merger for, some big companies. But
Thank
no,
you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A question?
Yes, quick question, Mr. Zarkowitz. That's what we were last year, right? And it's not one-time billing? Is it through you or Mr.
No,
Zarkowitz?
the rate actually was 2.25 last month. In discussing matters with the executive director and director, they indicated that, we've been at that rate for, I don't know, how many years was it? Maybe 10 years? And that it was time maybe to increase the rate a bit.
Which I agree, but I don't think it was for them to decide. I think they should at least had discussed that with us. I don't know if you're a part of that, Ms. Director, the executive, because I didn't, that was my question, because, and I certainly would support it, but we need to kind of move back getting these type of direction from administration. I think this is something that they could have discussed with council, and I think all of us here see the work that you've done and absolutely like what the work that you've done, but I think the respect, they should have told us this is our recommendation, and why do the mayor and the council, this is what staff is recommending, opposed them telling you this is what, because I remember it wasn't that, and my quick question to you, Rasha, is it on a monthly basis, or this is just for the entire, do we bill
He
on a
bills
monthly?
us monthly
Yeah.
as when the work is being done for the,
So, Mr. Zuckowitz, I wish it's not directly to you. I wish the executive director was here. I really don't like these type of, me being told, how to do it without even asking, at least out of respect for the council, this and that. But that's board. I'm sorry, board. But that's just my comment, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any
Yes,
other
I do.
comment? No.
I just like to address, so I'm okay with everything, with the exception that it says, client has agreed that Larry Spring will be the contact person. I feel more comfortable, I don't mind his name being there, but that it includes executive director.
I'm sorry, who did it say was the contact person?
So in the engagement in page 2, it
Yes.
says, client has agreed that Larry M. Spring Jr. will be the contact person for the client
Okay.
throughout the duration of the engagement. So it gives the appearance that it is, I mean, it's not stating.
You prefer it to say the executive director?
Yeah.
It can say
For the
both.
CRA.
It can say both. It can say
No,
his
well,
name and executive director.
No, I
Okay.
actually agree with you. I don't think it needs to have a name.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to make that change, and I can say executive director or his or her
The
designee.
There you
executive
go.
director
There
for
you
the
go.
city of North Miami and his,
Yeah.
it's.
Okay.
I don't mind
okay.
that
We'll
it's
make
both
that
names.
change.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Public
you.
hearing is open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion to approve it?
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve the agenda item 3. The motion was seconded by Board Member Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
you.
passes with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you for another year.
Okay,
Oh,
so-
wait, a whole year?
You're the month.
15th year, actually, that I've been here as your CRA attorney.
Cool.
3 more years and you're legal.
Thank you.
Chairman, for the record, as of 5:39, Board Member Galvin is present. Agenda item 4, resolution authorizing North Miami CRA staff to approve and not to exceed $500,000 for Nomi Yard Presents Red Garden. A resolution of the chairman and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing a waiver of competitive bid procedures pursuant to Section 7-120B of the City of North Miami Procurement Code and approving the funding for the development of the Nomi Yard Red Garden located at 12351 Northwest 7th Avenue, 645 Northwest 123rd Street, and 635 Northwest 123rd Street in an amount not to exceed $500,000, including but not limited to clearing and cleaning of the property, drainage, underground electrical and plumbing work, a parking lot, and staging the site as a temporary event space to allow for activation with food trucks, music, arts, and cultural programming in order to have the site ready for future arts events and Super Bowl 2020 pop-up events. Authorizing the executive director and North Miami CRA attorney to negotiate and finalize agreements in an aggregate amount not to exceed $500,000 for the Nomi Yard Red Garden project. Authorizing the chairman and executive director to execute the agreements, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreements, and providing an effective date. Agenda item 4.
Thank you very much.
Staff
Any
is-
question?
Yes.
Oh, you have a presentation?
No, I was just going to remind you that at the October 12th meeting, you had approved a presentation of the Nomi Yard Red Garden, and our attorney reminded us, for auditing purposes, it needed to be approved by resolution. So this is why we're bringing this back to you as a resolution. So for auditing purposes and so on, we have it officially done.
I think it was
Not-
actually the November 12th meeting.
November 12th?
Thank you
And
very
that's,
much.
that's section 2 of the resolution.
Yes.
Thank you very much, but actually you're asking for more, and by waiving the bidding process, it's just more than just that. And let me, yes.
In reference, and I did hear that section, it's more of the specialized services, some of the things of specialized services, some of the setup, some of the work that's gonna be done on the site, specialized services, and in the fact of moving the project along quickly, knowing that we do have a tight timeline to make it there. So that's why the language does read like that.
No, I understand that, but it's
Okay.
not just a resolution to ratify what was
Yeah.
voted on the 12th, but by asking us to waive the bidding process, it's more than just that. That's what I just said. Do you have any question on the?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, first and foremost, I thought the presentation was just the Nomi Red Garden. So I see that the word yard added. Secondly, my question and my
What did you say?
understanding.
It's
is
Nomi.
the
No,
yard-
it's called Nomi Yard Presents the Red Garden.
Okay, you mean, okay, so it'll be
I
the
did-
Red Garden, okay. That is just a minor
Okay.
type, I guess not typo, but, Yeah, when I asked that, Mr. Mayor, I was told that it was to ratify what we just did on November 12th. I did not see this language here, which, so what does this language, Mr. Attorney, this is giving them to do what?
So
This is,
my understanding from the executive director and staff is that the waiver of competitive bidding was required because we are authorizing the expenditure of $500,000 for various sort of projects and contractors and the like that have yet to be identified. So when this was discussed and procurement director, Mr. Destrati, weighed in, I was advised that we needed to put in the waiver of bid language from the city's code, which is in there. Because otherwise, we would have had to go out, the CRA would have had to go out and bid all the work that's being done. They don't have the time to do that. It's a special circumstance. So the waiver is to the total amount of the 500,000. So you're basically authorizing the executive director to spend up to $500,000 without going and bidding out those particular items. He can still bid them out if he wants to or get price quotes, but he doesn't have to.
that's kind of blank.
And what I will say is, we are still working with the purchasing department. The administration and the CRA is not just going rogue doing stuff. We are reaching out to people, getting price quotes on everything that we are doing, and it's part of the backup. So it will be. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
My only concern is if we see that one company would get a contract for 250. I'm just saying, I don't know how comfortable, and I'm asking the board if we could. Since we already did 500, that's already done since November 2nd. But you guys, if the council feel comfortable and the mayor of maybe capping. If you need something, you call us real quick. Well, you need it real fast. I'm just saying, what would be, because the 500,000 blank is that you could basically give it to one consultant or somebody to do something. What would be a significant amount that?
The highest expenditure we're going to have is going to be on the tents, which will be the cover for the site. That's going to be our highest expenditure. So that will be a high expenditure. However, in looking at the site, it was a lot of work that needed to be done. Right now, we're almost completely level at the site. We'll be level by the end of the week. But it is, as the attorney did say, it's short time frame in us moving forward.
Are you talking about, do you mean it's gonna be small project or multiple small contracts? Only the tent costs.
That will
a
be
lot
our
of
major
money.
expense. The tent will probably hit us somewhere around $100,000, $150,000. But
After
all the
that,
rest of the stuff is small.
20,000
purchases.
small.
Yes, sir.
Small. Okay.
Once,
Yes, ma'am.
once the tent's up, the 150,000, that will be our tent it's permanent.
That's going to be our tent permanently, and it won't be just. It's going to be probably 3 or 4 tents. Right now, we are looking at the pricing of the tents, and we're looking at what it costs for a long-term lease in case something does happen to it, or is it more profitable for us to buy it? So that'll all be in the backup. We're still doing our due diligence, but it will be our tents if we do determine to go ahead and purchase. But we're getting price quotes from everybody on long-term leases and buying to make sure to see what makes better sense. And as we did say during the presentation, first phase, we are doing our first phase. So the tent's gonna be up 6 months. So us making sure that price point is gonna be good for us, whether we purchase or continue to lease. So but that's our only major ticket is the tent. The rest
What was
of
the
them.
clearing cost?
The bid came in about $12,000. We're now, some of the stuff that was dug up, we're gonna have to haul away. So it probably will go up by another $25,000. So about $35,000. We did most of the work in-house for the first 2 weeks of the project. And now this guy's just coming in, doing the leveling and basically grinding up some of the junk stuff that's there to level the site out. But we are doing in-house also drainage. We're gonna be digging, doing the trenching for drainage and everything, and getting it set up for electrical.
Will that be part of our 500,000?
Yes. Everything's part of it. Any overtime cost that we did incur during the first lot clearing
So we're
portion of
paying
it,
the city to do that?
we're paying we're reimbursing
Reimbursement?
the general fund for that overtime cost.
Oh, the city gonna get some of that?
Yes.
No city employees,
The
that's good.
city employees
Not that-
actually work.
Not any extra money.
Mhm.
They're reimbursing the city for the use of those employees
Oh, okay.
for overtime, yes.
So how much overtime was put in so far?
I think right now we might be at the most 35,000.
Of overtime?
No, no.
That's what I'm
Overtime, no.
asking.
We had one Saturday and Sunday the guys worked for the very first weekend.
Okay.
That was it.
So less than 40 hours is
Oh, far less than 40
Okay.
hours. It might have been maybe 16 hours an employee, and I think we maybe had 8 employees on the site.
So just to kind of correct some of the concerns that are addressed here, is it possible that our next CRA meeting, we can have an idea of the expenditure that had been done thus far? Can we have a report on that?
Without a doubt, yes.
Thank you, and all of the, hopefully the
By
small
your next
businesses.
CRA
or-
meeting,
be
you'll have a
over.
complete outline of everything that we're gonna spend money
didn't
on.
do it.
We're
It's
gonna
not
be,
till early
I
February.
think
Oh,
we're
it's
gonna be,
February,
yes.
okay, it's in
We're gonna
February.
be,
Right there.
for the way we're moving, we're anticipating being done by December 31st.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that some small businesses, local preference, can participate if they meet the requirement. To want that to be a consideration.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on item 4. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve Agenda Item 4. The motion was seconded by Board Member Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Agenda Item 5, resolution to approve Kivett as North Miami CRA Public Relations Firm. A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the recommendation of award of request for proposals, RFP number 53-18-19, Public Relations Services for North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency to ASGK Public Strategies LLC, doing business as Kivett, authorizing the Executive Director and North Miami CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with Kivett as the highest-ranked respondent for a 1-year contract with 4 additional 1-year periods for an amount not to exceed $8,000 monthly. Authorizing the Chairman and the Executive Director to execute the agreement. Authorizing the Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 5.
Good evening, board members. Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you represents the results of the Evaluation Committee review and recommendation for award of the firm ASGK Public Strategies LLC, which is doing business as Kivett. They were the highest ranked firm in response to solicitation RFP number 53-18-19, which was requesting responses from experienced and qualified firms to assist and administer the public relations services of the CRA. As reflected in the agenda memo that was submitted in support of this item, there were 8 proposals or 8 responses that were received by the city, and the evaluation committee proceeded with a 2-step or 2-tier evaluation process. Upon conclusion of their initial evaluation, which was a Tier 1, and the results are included as part of your package, the evaluation committee invited the top 2 firms to be interviewed for the second phase of the evaluation process. The results of the second phase of the Tier 2 of the evaluation process are included there in the memo, and the highest ranked firm was the firm Kivett. The 2 firms that were interviewed were Kivett and RMA. Given the above, staff is recommending the board's approval of the committee's recommendation to award this contract to Kivett for an initial 1-year term with an option to renew for 4 additional one-year periods at an amount not to exceed $8,000 a month. Included as part of your package is the actual solicitation, the proposal from Kivett, and as I mentioned, the Tier 1 evaluation results, and also the final Tier 2 evaluation results. Here with me in support of this item is one of the directors of Kivett, Ms. Kelly Penton. She's in the audience, as well as a partner of Kivett, Ms. Guyleen Berry, who's also in the audience. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Thank you very much. Do we have any question on the dais?
Yes.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
You want to, you go into the,
make a
you want us to?
You can do that. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Well, my concern is the amount per month. How much is that a year?
96,000.
96, okay. So why only the top 2 that was invited for oral presentation?
So let me see the points. I think it was based on, they were the top 2 that had the highest points, 298 and 294 points. The third one was 234 points, and then the rest were much lower.
I
So
know.
we just
Okay.
did 2.
So, because I guess I'm trying to get at, so we put out an RFP, we have approximately 2, 4, 6, about 8 people who responded, but we decided to just go with the top 2. I don't,
Well,
I
that
don't
was,
really,
Just, it was the evaluation committee.
that's what I'm saying.
Right,
The evaluation committee,
They're the ones that make a decision as to how many firms they want to interview.
the evaluation committee does
The
that?
evaluation committee, yes, sir.
Okay. That's my concern. All right.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for the presentation. I actually took out the time to read this in detail. I definitely would like to support this. I think this is actually really good for our city as a whole. I like the positive marketing that it will bring to the cities and the creative ideas. There are a couple of ideas that they actually highlighted that they would do. I really think they're present, based on my observation and reading, I really think they would help us take us to exactly the level that we want to be as a city. Everybody knows that North Miami right now is the hot spot, real estate spot, and for us especially trying to eliminate slum and blight, the economic development that we're trying to increase here. I really think we need that extra push to really, so that people can really see the goodness that is here in North Miami, and especially the things that to highlight the things that are really happening here in North Miami. So I'm definitely in favor of this, and I'd like to move for approval.
Second.
We're not there yet. Thank you. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. What exactly they're gonna be doing?
They will be the PIO, the public relations firm for the CRA.
They're gonna replace the CIA, the PIO?
Yeah. And they will be taking care of all of our, not only the press releases, all the articles, the stories that we need to put out there.
What's
on
what they're gonna be doing? Press release?
Not
You need
just
to
press
pay
release, sir.
$96,000 for a
Not
press
just for press
release?
releases, sir. If you look at what they're proposing, they will take care of all of our social media, all of our trying to get CRA
Yes,
social media,
CRA,
all
yeah.
these initiatives that we unveil every time we do something positive, and we're doing a redevelopment or a grant or even the Nomi Red Garden. It is
What
our
not be regarding?
responsibility.
They have their own money for marketing.
I understand that, sir, but I'm telling you, in terms of it, as an example, it helps for them to market it and get it out so that the public and the other media are aware of what is happening in the CRA.
How they gonna bill you?
It is $8,000 monthly, and it's no more than $8,000 for the work that they're doing.
Okay, you're gonna, Okay, 8,000 a month, you're gonna
Yes,
pay them.
no more than $96,000 for the
And
year.
you're gonna provide them with the information.
Yes.
If you don't give them nothing for a month, that's mean,
Well, we will be giving them things to do for.
like what?
But we,
It'll be
But
a
you're gonna be
combination.
giving them every month.
A
You don't
com-
have a press release every month, you don't, what, you're gonna,
Well,
tell me.
When we're doing the board is making all of the grants that we're offering, to let people know what grants that we are
You're
offering.
just gonna put a note, we give 10 grants for the month and,
And when we have our grand openings, they'll be there to do the coverage, just the social media and everything for all the grants that we have going on, and everything associated with the CRA. And again, it is building a story around the CRA and the positive stuff that we're doing. That's one of the things that we've always been behind the curve on, is actually letting people know the good things we're doing. So we will have help with this group, helping us paint that picture of all the good things that we're doing and highlighting them through social media and various articles moving forward.
Let me ask
Okay.
a dumb question.
go ahead.
So the firm that you had before, they didn't do that, assuming.
we did not hire them for that. We had hired them.
No,
to
for,
do
no, for the rebranding.
The branding,
I,
yeah.
I,
they did
I
the
understand,
plan.
no, the rebranding and the plan of, your CRA, but he's saying, are you talking about reference to the CRA or the city PIO,
The CRA
Strictly
only.
CRA, sir.
Now, I understand, but you said the good work that we've done, that we kind of like, and I agree with you for some term, but I don't think it's the CRA per se. You know, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't think it's the CRA. I think it's a city whole thing, but that's a whole different ballgame, but that's fine.
A quick question, what did we get for the rebranding? The money that we spent for rebranding and all those things, did the CRA bring new businesses? You spend a lot of money to IMA for rebranding, marketing, rebranding, something like that, and you put a lot of
The pole
things on the street
banners
and now
the
they're
walkers'
dirty, you
guides.
need someone to pay someone to remove them
We're gonna
because they make the
update
city ugly right now.
We're actually in the process of updating them, sir. But the walkers' guides that we did, the pole banners, the new branding, the tagline, those were all part of what they did for the branding and marketing strategy. We just didn't hire them for the PR firm because we have to go through the bidding process.
Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is now closed.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Estime Irvin to approve Agenda Item 5. The motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
No.
I'm sorry, Chairman.
I said no.
Okay. The item passes with a 3-2 vote. Agenda Item 6, resolution to approve Pro Kitchen Hub as consultant for the North Miami CRA Restaurant Boot Camp. A resolution of the chairman and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing a waiver of competitive bid procedures pursuant to Section 7-120B of the City of North Miami Procurement Code and approving the funding for an agreement with Pro Kitchen Hub LLC for the North Miami Restaurant Boot Camp in an amount not to exceed $140,000, authorizing the executive director and North Miami CRA attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement in an amount not to exceed $140,000 for the North Miami Restaurant Boot Camp, authorizing the chairman and executive director to execute the agreement, authorizing the executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement, and providing an effective date. Agenda Item 6.
Once again, for the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you represents staff's recommendation and request for the board's approval of a waiver of competitive bidding procedures, as was mentioned by the clerk, in accordance with Section 7120 B of the city's Code of Ordinances, in order to award a contract to Pro Kitchen Hub LLC to assist local North Miami food establishments in developing sustainable business models for their restaurants for a not to exceed amount of $140,000. As reflected in the memo that was submitted in support of this item, staff is negotiating an agreement with Pro Kitchen for the purpose of procuring their expertise and services to educate, support, and to help guide local restaurant owners interested in participating in a 6-month boot camp program with the goal of improving their overall operations, increasing their sales, and enhancing their long-term success. The Pro Kitchen team is composed of experienced and proven professionals in the culinary and hospitality industry, whose vision is to serve as a culinary incubator and to empower and assist local restaurant owners and food entrepreneurs in developing sustainable businesses. This 6-month program will be focused primarily on the following 3 areas: measuring and evaluation of each of the participants' restaurant businesses. Number 2, education and training. And number 3, scoring and coaching the participants. Upon completion of the program, each of the participating businesses will receive a certificate of completion for this program, and the qualified restaurants may then apply for grants through the North Miami CRA for improvement of their respective restaurants to complete implementation of the recommended changes identified through the boot camp program by Pro Kitchen. Attached for your review are copies of the proposed resolution, as well as a proposal from Pro Kitchen and a summary of the scope of services which they will provide through this program. Here with me in support of this item is Ms. Vicky Colas, who is also known as Chef Vicky, and she is founder and president of Pro Kitchen. This concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them. Thank you.
Can we open it to the public? Public hearing is open. Public hearing is open on item 6. Public hearing is now closed. Member of the board.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I am so glad to see, as an elected official, we are elected to, I guess, help improve quality of life of our residents and to improve our businesses. So I had talked to the manager, I think a couple months, maybe a year or 2 ago, Rasha, and the director. I saw something in Sunrise that mimicked this, one of the elected official there. And this was such a good program, and I just want to kudos to you and the manager for putting this together, but it took a year. However, I just have some questions in regards to this. So you guys will recruit the restaurants and train them, and because it's a mess. If, you know, they need help, and some of them in our city, and I think this will be welcoming to them. The question that I have, and I guess I'll wait for the other members of our board, is I would like for us to at least focus after they are done, because unless we tell this little restaurant or these little restaurants, because this is not like major chain Burger King or none of that. This is the little guys. Unless we give them a little mom and pop grant similar to what the Children's Trust does, a capacity building to continue or something, a number, whatever that number may be, you and the manager, I think that we should discuss that number to them. I don't, you know, Mr. Mayor, I don't know what that number would be, certainly for them to apply for that mom and pop grant. It has to be something separate where the hoop loop, hopefully, the program would already establish them to be able to provide all the paperwork that they needed.
And I think I talked to Rasha about it and the executive director of the CRA about putting a mom and pop grant for those businesses. And if I'm not mistaken, you have that for $7,000 between
$7,500.
if we can make those who participate in this program and automatically qualify for the grant, that would be if
Or
they
not-
follow.
That is the carrot, sir,
But
for
you
them to
can't
complete
automatic-
the course.
complete,
They have
If
to
they
finish.
complete the course, they will be rewarded of
Yes.
the 7,500.
Is there any
and,
reason
grant.
why, Mr. Mayor, why it's not 10? I'm just throwing it
You
out
could-
there.
We were
So-
looking at the county level to
Oh.
see those mom and pop
'Cause-
grant without. so they can use it for
Yeah.
inventory and without
Because-
all the CRA guideline.
So, I mean, to explain, Chef Vicky, she actually had a little PowerPoint presentation, 8-pager, for those of you who are not aware of who she is, but she owns and manages Pro Kitchen Hub. It's a commercial kitchen. She has over 70 mom-and-pop restaurants
Oh,
that are
wow.
learning in her shop how to be legal and so on and so forth. So that's why we're using her expertise.
Okay.
What we're gonna do is, once she's done assessing each restaurant's needs, some of them, it could be, for instance, poor ventilation, it could
Oh.
be, it could be a
Credit
rehab
card, actually.
and
Okay.
I
credit
see.
card.
Okay.
So
Okay.
based on that assessment, then we will come to you and say, these are the 10 restaurants that have graduated, and we are providing this special grant, which is a combination of the mom and pop and the rehab grant to get them to the next
Okay,
phase.
okay, okay.
Okay.
Any other question?
Not question,
yeah.
a comment. I'm definitely excited about this. And the mom and pop, I just want to make sure this is our mom and pop that we're doing, correct? The CRA mom and pop.
Yes, we do
Okay, I
have
just
an
wanna make sure.
existing,
Okay.
it's called the capacity building grant.
Oh, okay, it's called, okay.
Yeah, but we
I just wanna
mirrored
make
it
sure-
with the county's mom and pop.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Yes.
So we're spending between $14,000 and $20,000 per business already to put them through this program.
Yes.
So I'd like to make sure that they have properly completed it and are going to continue with what they're gonna make use of what they learned, not just say, okay, we did it, before we then reward them with another grant.
Exactly.
Oh, I like
Um,
that.
But my second question is, will you be coming back to the board for us to approve the 7 to 10 businesses? Because I would like.
For the,
Is it
Grant?
7 and 10 only?
for the other
10.
grant?
Th-
It's
this-
up
What-
to 10 restaurants.
This is
Of
only-
course you're gonna be coming to, for that.
So
Yeah.
we're not, well, we're now gonna give 140,000 for this program. What I wanna know is, will you be coming back to us with the 7 to 10 restaurants for us to approve?
No, I don't think so.
I would recommend that the board, if you have specific restaurants you would like us to look at, what we did do, we've already done a secret shopper type of investigation, West Dixie downtown and Northwest 7th Avenue. So we've already done a basic assessment of a lot of these restaurants already. Some of them, it's by priority in terms of health issues, not passing the health, dirty dining and all that other stuff and so on. That we did that by priority. But if you have specific restaurants you would like us to look at to incorporate into this first pilot program, because if it is successful, I'm
Then
pretty
we'll
sure
continue.
the restaurants will be coming to us and asking to be part of, the second phase.
Okay.
I would like to
but-
see it dispersed over the entire
Yes,
CRA. I
yes.
don't think
So-
Councilman
Not
Galvin
in the
has any.
entire,
Yeah,
we
no.
don't, we, 7, not for 7 only.
This
No,
came-
we have 125th Street.
No, that's what she said. She said
I'm sure-
downtown. She's messing
And
with you.
Dixie.
She's messing with you,
West
Vice
Dixie.
Mayor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Council's
West
got any
Dixie.
restaurants in- I don't think
The
Council's
dirty
got any
dining.
restaurants.
I think it's better if the politicians don't give you any recommendations.
Exactly,
Remove
yeah,
the
it's,
politics
yeah,
from it all.
it's better like that. Just go and
Just wanna make sure it's
assess
dispersed.
and see
So
who's
we've done-
interested, who's.
Well, let me say this, and I'm just saying this, but somebody's going to eat in some of them, and I could throw out names like that. I'm not, I'm not saying for us to go and talk to the people. I'm just saying if you see somebody you could say this name, because I know, I'm gonna put it out there. You got this one down the street, you got so that's
Not
some
people
who
who
in
already
bad.
received.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
what I'm
we're not
saying.
talk-
Not necessarily, I don't know.
We're not talking about small and.
Yeah, but I
don't think
agree.
this is I don't think this should necessarily be for just the worst.
Yeah,
road traps in the
absolutely.
city. There are young, new
That too.
businesses that are struggling who could use this.
Absolutely.
And they're not dirty and they're not on dirty dining, but they really could use the help. So I don't want it to be just
We don't
like-
want them to be
Right,
on there.
just do
Yeah.
it.
We
Right.
also want to give money to restaurants that we will be able to see the results from. People who just need that little bit of pick-me-up, so it shouldn't just be the,
But we have that, right? The mem and pop we
just-
have is for that, for those
Yeah, we
restaurants.
have that.
Yeah.
But we
This
just
is
gotta make
specific
sure
to
we don't give
educate.
the money to people who already receive
Yeah.
money from the city. That's the first thing.
Okay.
People who already receive grants from the city. Can I hear a motion to approve?
So
the
moved.
item?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
I have a motion made by Board Member Desilme to approve Agenda Item 6. The motion was seconded by Board Member Estime Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
It look like chef. No. Oh, yes. Sorry, that's not what I was saying. Can
All
you
in
finish?
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much. But chef,
Thank
it
you.
look like you wanna show the presentation anywhere you were so.
No, it's not
Okay,
necessary. I
okay.
just came up here in support. Go ahead.
Can she
You had
email
any
it to you
questions?
and then you
Yeah,
email it to
email
us?
it to us so we
Email it
can
to us.
to everybody.
Email it
Okay.
to
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Just
Agenda Item 7, Business Attraction Grant Request, Croissant House by Flavorish, 650 Northeast 125th Street.
speaking of restaurants.
Can I?
Mhm.
Oh, go ahead.
Please find attached a business attraction grant request from Croissant House by Flavorish, located at 650 Northeast 125th Street, Bay 2 and 3. That is the spot where the Old Chinese restaurant caught fire, and we gave the property owner a rehab grant to add a grease trap for the whole space. I just wanted to remind you. As a result of that, she has secured 3 restaurants at the spot so far, and this is the first applicant. Croissant House by Flavorish is a gastro bakery. They produce artisanal croissants, gourmet coffee. They will be open for the evening with a beer and wine. They have already a spot on Biscayne and 73rd Street called Flavorish Bakery. I've been there and I've visited it.
What's the location? That's,
Biscayne Boulevard and 73rd Street.
Okay.
It's called Flavorish Bakery.
Okay.
The scope of work includes interior remodeling, interior paint, light fixture, security installation, exterior signage, and new flooring. There are no violations on this property. The total cost of project is $401,926. The business attraction grant allows for up to $150,000. Staff recommends approval of that. And this is an additional benefit. We need to bring in new restaurants, new diverse eateries into our community, so staff strongly recommends approval. And Mr. Alex Cobo, the applicant, is here if you have any additional questions.
Thank you very much. Let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item. Public hearing is now closed.
Move approval.
Second.
Quick question, can I, if you guys don't
Go
mind? So the other two, are they gonna come back individually for?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanna make sure, so this 216, is just for that, and then the other,
this is
Two.
150,000.
oh, this is one, okay, and the other, whichever.
It's 5 locations.
It's 5
gonna
or
be
3?
Well, no, they
three
took 2 bays,
There's 3 left.
3
Just
left,
3 left.
and they signed 2 leases for 2 other restaurants,
Okay,
and they're
they
gonna
would be, or
applying-
another 2
The
people?
business will be applying
For the other
themselves,
2.
the other ones.
Okay,
So
The
this is
previous
first-
money was for 1.
The property owner to, you remember it was completely gutted,
Yeah,
no
the
roof,
burn.
it was completely burnt down. So we gave her $160,000 to help. The total cost of this rehab that you see right now is about $820,000. But we gave her the additional $60,000 so she could put a grease trap in the whole
Okay.
property to allow her to either rent it to one restaurant or several. So she opted to
Okay.
split it into several bays and have multiple tenants,
All
which is
right.
a better thing for us.
Thank you very much. Can I hear a motion? Oh,
So
we have a
moved.
motion.
yeah.
And a second already.
Councilman
Thank you.
Mayor Irvin already seconded.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve Agenda Item 7. The motion was seconded by Board Member Estime Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote.
And talking about this item, there is something I think we need to look at it. A project like this, let's see the rent prior to the event, to the place, and was damaged by fire, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If it was $20 a square footage, and now we give them money, and on top of that, they make all the repair, and now they charge $30 per square foot. We gotta have some restriction, and when we give them money, there's an amount they cannot go over it. We gotta revisit that.
Well, the restriction.
Let's say I'm giving you more than 50% to redo the place. And even though I give you the money, you end up and increase your rent by 30-40%.
Well, the restrictions in the programs that you have on the commercial side are basically that once the money's given, that particular owner needs to run its business from that property for a particular period of time. In this case, a rehabilitation grant, they have to stay there 5 years. So they can't take your money from the CRA, improve their property, and then flip the property and make a profit.
But we need to
So
add that in the guideline. That's what I'm talking
we
about.
have that. If we want to add
Not just
some
that,
rental
like-
restrictions
Yeah,
as well,
we need that.
then that's something that we would need to have staff address, maybe do a study to see what the market rents
Yeah,
are.
because it's unfair to the tenants. You give a grant to the owner of the building to do the renovation, and after that, they increase the rent by 30-40%. That's mean it's like you move them out to attract new tenants.
I
I'm not talking
understand.
about
It's a-
just that particular one. I'm talking
Right.
about
It's a
yeah,
policy, it's a policy
general,
issue.
yeah.
It's a policy issue
Yeah.
that, if the board is interested in reviewing that and perhaps
Yeah.
placing additional
That's mean if we
restrictions
give
on
you
grants,
50%, 60%.
Good
um,
idea.
Yeah,
think
we
and
it's a
coming
cannot
great
back
just
with
go
some
back.
recommendations perhaps in your
Yeah.
grant guidelines.
Have you seen other CRAs doing that?
No,
It's
I
like the
don't
same
see
thing.
other CRAs, what I see in other CRAs, like for example in Hallandale Beach, they have similar programs, there's limits on the amount of money. They do give tenants, they have a rent subsidy program, where they actually give the tenants money to help pay the rent. But I don't see them limiting the, price per square foot that a property owner is gonna charge, like the market will, address that basically. And I don't know what your market rents are downtown for restaurants, maybe you wanna take a
Not for
look at
stuff,
that,
for everything. It's like,
you know.
you understand, let's say you have a crappy building and the tenant is paying like $1,000 a month, and you end up giving them 300,000, and now that they wanna charge 2,000 for the rent.
Oh, I
It's like
understand
you move
completely.
those people out to attract maybe other tenants. We gotta find a way to
I think we could do
to stop that
I agree.
from, yeah.
Well, if you'd like to direct staff maybe
So-
to take a look at the rents and
Next time.
maybe come up with some sort of
If the average
recommendations.
is $20, whatever it is, that's mean they need to keep it in the same
And
range.
then,
I
and
mean,
have a
if you can-
limit perhaps on a
It's the same thing
percentage.
when you're doing affordable housing, for
Correct.
example, yeah, you have to
Exactly.
keep the rent this amount if
And
you're getting.
have a percentage that it can increase per year not to exceed.
Yeah, something good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I think that's a
yes.
terrific idea.
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent.
I agree.
A little rent control. If we're gonna be giving the people money,
Yeah.
then we can't fix up their property so they can charge more rent, put a cap on it for like 5 years or something, a reasonable cap.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
So are we
Report.
directing,
no, it's a discussion. It's not.
I mean, how soon do we want to see this implemented, is what I'm saying?
No, it's to do some research and see what's best can we come up with, because it's just a suggestion. We making sure the owners doesn't increase the rent. CRA report. Do you have any report, CRA
Um,
attorney?
From my perspective, it was brought to my attention today by the director, and we had discussed this. So there's certain agreements between the city and the CRA. The CRA depends upon the city for certain services, including, for example, the services of the city clerk,
No, we don't.
the services of your procurement department, finance, the space that the CRA office occupies is owned by the city, correct? So we're going to take a look at those and perhaps update them to address a more, I guess, current view of what services the CRA obtains from the city, how they're paid for, and the like, as well as taking a look at the bylaws and updating and amending those to bring those current, especially now in light of the fact that you've extended the CRA until 2044. It's probably a good time to take a look at that and bring everything, up to current standards, especially with the change in the law this year. CRAs have a lot more accountability. It was brought to my attention, I think one of the board members brought it to the director's attention, who brought it to my attention, and I've stated in the past, we do have agreements in place, and I did say that they probably need to be updated. The prior administration was really not too interested in doing that, but this administration certainly is, so we're going to look at that for next month or February. Thank you, that's all I have.
Executive Director, report,
No report today, sir.
public comments on the CRA, no citizen forum on the CRA.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
Thank you very much. See you next month.
I have a motion to adjourn made by Board Member Galvin,
Somebody's here.
seconded by Board Member Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. Yes, sir.